go to get all your news? Washington Informer Television. We are so excited to be with you for another episode of Win TV. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Micha Green, managing editor of the Washington Informer. And while our publisher is getting some much needed rest and self care, I'm filling in for her. And so we say hello to our fearless publisher, Denise Rolark Barnes, and we miss you and hope to see you soon. But we're happy that you're getting the rest that you so deserve. Now, last weekend we formally celebrated Earth Day, but we're still celebrating Earth Month and our Earth throughout the entire year. Of course, you all know about our Earth page, and I hope you all have seen this week's Washington Informer, which includes, of course, our Earth Day coverage, a little highlight of our Earth Day book drive, which was very successful. I think we collected over 75 books. Here in the front, we have a story about some plans to revitalize downtown as well as the district's tax commission and what Washingtonians think about President Biden running for re-election. All of that and more you can get in this week's Washington Informer, as well as a special edition of the Washington Informer Bridge, which we absolutely love every month, which highlights DC's millennial, creative, I should say millennial and Gen Z and creative community. And so make sure you get a copy of this week's Washington Informer. And you can also read it online at www.washingtoninformer.com. And if you're one of our loyal followers on Win TV, then this week you might have seen a couple of Facebook Live or YouTube or Twitter Lives or LinkedIn that I did. And we had a really, really good time. First, we had Deidre Lawan Starnes, I should say, who is the director of Night Mother at Anacostia Playhouse. And it is a great mother-daughter piece by Marsha Norman. And though it wasn't written for two Black women, it really shows the layers that we have and expectations we have for women, particularly in our community. And so it is really, really a beautiful piece. Make sure you see it. It runs at Anacostia Playhouse until May 13th. Then we caught up with Kimon Freeman of We Act Radio and the author of Nineveh, who really told us about the serious implications of the water crisis, not only here in Washington, D.C., but also some nationally. We know some of the issues in Jackson, of course, and Flint, Michigan, and then internationally as well. And so we talked a lot about that. And then finally, you might have seen us talk yesterday to Jin Hee Kim of from Events DC. And we had a great conversation. I mean, Events DC has a lot going on. If you're not tapped into what's happening with Events DC, make sure you check it out. But one of the things we talked about yesterday was the upcoming Around the World Embassy Tour, which is on May 6th. And you have the opportunity to check out 60 different embassies here in the District of Columbia, right in our backyard, engaging with the world. I mean, such a great opportunity. And you can go to those embassies between 10 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. next Saturday, May 6th. So we've been really busy. If you didn't get a chance to watch, be sure to check some of those videos out at your leisure on our Facebook or YouTube or really anywhere that you are watching our video now. And then please take a little time to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Washington Informer TV. Again, that's Washington Informer TV, no spaces. Now, I have to tell you all, I am really excited about our guests today. We have some amazing folks doing really wonderful things in the community, but I have to admit I am pretty biased about our first guest. Our first guest is Kaylasa Kill, the Communications and Events Manager for Common Good City Farm. And I have to say, she's my best friend. So we'll be chatting with her a little bit later. April is also Child Abuse Prevention Month, and our publisher did a walkthrough and interview with Michelle Booth Cole, Executive Director of Safe Shores, the DC Children's Advocacy Center. And so we'll watch that video and see some of the work that they're doing there. And then we also will catch up with Rob Shear, founder of Comfort Cases, who's joining us today live to talk about the organization he founded and the mission to bring dignity and hope to youth in foster care, and tell us about some of the programming that they have going on at Comfort Cares. Um, Look, I'm loving the comments. Good morning, Stacy. Good morning. Or sorry, good afternoon, Michael Von Lasseter. Look, it's 12:10. I need to wake on up. I didn't have my coffee, but we know when TV is afternoon. But yes, Stacy, my best friend is coming on, and it could be potentially unfair. But look, she's doing good work. It is a great lineup. So before we bring on our first guest, let's watch our weekly news broadcast by Curtis Knowles.
This is Win TV News, bringing you the news that matters. Two controversial news anchors at competing cable networks are now out of jobs. These anchors in question are Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon. Fox News announced Monday that it severed ties with the race-baiting and MAGA supporter Tucker Carlson just 1 week after the network settled a defamation suit of $787 million, in part because Carlson joined others in promoting the, quote, big lie that included claims that Dominion voting machines were fraudulent. The company did not offer any explanation for Carlson's departure. Lemon's termination comes during a year in which the longtime anchor and host repeatedly ran into controversy. In February, Lemon implied that the GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley at age 51 was, quote, past her prime. CNN commented saying it had parted ways with Lemon and also said, quote, that we wish him well. Lemon himself commented saying, quote, I am stunned, and after 17 years at CNN, I would have thought someone in management would have the decency to tell me directly. After less than 3 years at the helm of the Metropolitan Police Department, Chief Robert J. Conti is stepping down. In 2020, Bowser and the D.C. Council tapped and then later confirmed the Ward 5 native as a replacement of Peter Newsham, who took a new job as the chief of the Prince William County Police Department in Virginia. Conti, a 33-year-old veteran of the department, recently revealed his intentions to leave the MPD on Wednesday. In a statement, D.C. Mayor Bowser congratulated Conti for his decades of service, saying, quote, since his first week on the job and over the past 33 years, he has been making Washington, D.C. incredibly proud. President Joe Biden formally announced his bid for re-election on Tuesday. In a video released early Tuesday, Biden framed next year's contest as a fight against Republican extremism, implicitly arguing he needed more time to fully realize his vow to restore the nation's character. Biden's official declaration ends any lingering doubts about his intentions and begins the contest that could evolve into a rematch with his 2020 rival, former President Donald Trump. He enters the race with a significant legislative record but low approval ratings, a conundrum his advisors have been unable to solve. Already the oldest president in history, he also confronts persistent questions about his age.
Thank you so much, Curtis, for that really informative and engaging package. And without further ado, we are supposed to be welcoming the incredible, the beautiful, the talented. No, I'm sorry, y'all. I told y'all I was super biased. I had to do the utmost. But I'm so incredibly excited to welcome to the show my best friend who's doing absolutely amazing and wonderful and important work as the communications and events manager for Common Good City Farm, Kaylasa Akil. How are you?
Hi, Mish. Wow, such a grand entrance.
Y'all, she did not pay me for that. It is solely because I truly believe all those things.
Oh, wow. Wow, thank you.
No, I'm so inspired. I have had a few opportunities to come to Common Good City Farm and see the great work that you all have been up to. But tell us a little bit about Common Good City Farm.
Yeah, the farm is sitting in LaDroit Park, DC. It's a nonprofit, and we've been around for about 15 years. I just joined last June as their events and communications manager. And what we do, we offer a pay what you can market to our community and to people outside of our community as well. It's open to the public. We also offer an array of programming for adults and youth. We have programming for youth about 3 times a week, and they learn how to garden and they learn recipes and they cook with the instructor. And they learn how to harvest their veggies that they planted at the beginning of the year. So it's really enriching for the youth. We also have, workshops and events for adults as well, where people can learn how to pickle veggies or preserve food. And also, we offer volunteer opportunities so they can learn how to harvest or attend to a garden as well.
And I have to say the educational piece that you all have really goes through and through no matter what you're doing. I've been to two fairly fun events, right? But I think engaging the community and educating the community is such a high priority for you all in the work that you're doing. Why is tapping into our community and engaging them in the way that you do so important?
Since we have such a big platform, or we get so many opportunities, it's only right to spread the knowledge and spread the wealth and literally plant the seeds for the next generation, touch somebody and empower somebody that may not have an opportunity to be in power or in leadership or something. And, incorporate different ideas and different perspectives to really have a bigger scope and reach other people and definitely make change and make a great impact.
And you've been there since June. Tell us about some of the programming that you've been a part of, continuing as well as creating.
Yeah, definitely our community events. So we were just at our Earth Day event this year, but last year we had a couple of fundraising events. So I got to coordinate my first fundraising dinner for the farm. We have a signature dinner that comes up during the spring and the fall. So we have one coming up, and I'll plug it in later. But we have one coming up, and last year we did our fall fundraising dinner, and it includes like a cocktail hour and farm fresh food. We feature local chefs, so that's really fun to be able to build relationships with different local chefs and like just change makers that are around the city. Um, yeah, and other than that, I would say our workshops, our food preservation workshops, just like getting to know these people, building these relationships with people that are really pushing um, sustainability forward and including a diverse demographic.
And I know that people can come out and farm as well as tap into all of the programming, but how what would you say is someone should have as their first introduction into common good? What would be your suggestion to come on out?
I would say come to the market. We have a market every Wednesday, and our first market of the season is starting next Wednesday, May 3rd. It's between 3:30 and 6:30 p.m. So I would definitely say come to the market. It's a good way to talk to people in the neighborhood. It's a good way to talk to people that are employed at Common Good, the staff. It's a good way to learn about new foods and share recipes. Um, I think that's a really just open way to get to know this community is just to stop by a market. So I would definitely suggest that.
I just have to plug y'all, these markets get very fun, people are talking, normally there's music playing.
Yeah.
It's truly engaging. So tell me a little bit about your goals this year, this particularly as we're getting into the warmer months. What are some of your goals for Common Good City Farm?
I definitely, as a Black person, I definitely want to bring in and empower, like I was saying before, like empowering people that look like me, Black women, to step up in leadership, to use their voice. Um, and good thing about that is we just hired two new people for our market assistant and our market manager, and they're both Black women. And it's just great to have that backup and be able to like move through, and navigate this like kind of new system to a lot of us. Not everybody works in nonprofit sectors, so just to have like similar points of view and to be able to share that. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to, just different partnerships that we're creating, meeting more organizations that are, pushing sustainability forward. I'm definitely looking forward to working with these chefs for a night on the farm and brunch on the farm in June.
Yes.
Looking forward to people that will meet at the markets on Wednesdays. Yeah.
You said something really interesting that I didn't think about, which is that, when I go to Common Good City Farm, my experience is like, I'm feeling one with the earth, and there's all of these beautiful, fresh vegetables and, different kinds of produce and flowers, etc., around me. And, I'm vibing with the community, but there is such a business aspect, right? Even in this nonprofit sector. And I'm curious how you all are sort of able to balance making this feel like such a and maybe I'm coming for events that are such as Earth Day and things like that are very intentional, but it feels like you all are like elevated farmers, just there working, doing your thing. But you're farmers. That's what you are and what you're doing. But you're business women. You're business people. You're which is what farmers are. Let me make that clear. But you're educators. You're all of these things. And like, how do you sort of balance those two with also like prioritizing the earth and health and caring for our spaces?
Yeah. Common Good is a really vibrant space. You know, on one end it's like Bloomingdale, and then on the other end it's like Howard and Kelly Miller. So like the blend of the two is very like odd and beautiful, and also just like DC. That's what DC is right now. Um, so I think that that contributes to it. The people that come and visit the farm, the setting is just, it's great to be outside, for one, be able to interact with people coming out of the pandemic, and having a work setting that is literally outdoors in a garden,
Yeah.
is one thing that's very motivating, I would say. um but yeah, balancing personal and like work and everything, it's also great to have a team that is very like aware of um and sensitive to like to different people's awareness and different people's like points of view. It's really a plus to have a good team that is just encouraging. And I missed a meeting the other day and I was really stressing out. And one of my teammates was just like, don't stress it, you'll be able to offer your input next week. It's just really good to have people that can understand um, that everybody goes through things in life, that everybody has a set of like their difficulties, and we just support each other through through the times.
And I want to emphasize, because when I said this, I love, first of all, our farmer community out here who's tuning in. Let me show y'all so much love, but and emphasize that y'all need to see what's happening at Common Good City Farm, because it's just so inspirational. Like, y'all are rolling up your sleeves, getting down and dirty, serving the community. I mean, I watched you all serve houseless people, those in need, giving back fresh kale and I mean, it just has, it's been so beautiful to really be a part of, and it's right in the middle of the District of Columbia.
Yeah.
Right, Howard, Bloomingdale,
Yeah.
right,
Shaw. Yeah.
right, and in this historic neighborhood of LaDroit Park.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just quite impressive what you all are doing. So I when I said elevated farming, I meant y'all. This is not. We're not driving out to Upper Marlboro to get this done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's right
urban.
here. It's
It's right
urban
here.
farming. It's right
Yeah.
here in the city.
Hmm.
Um, Tell me how we as the community can support what you all are doing at Common Good City Farm.
Well, we do have a donation page. We are grant funded. We are donor funded. And I would definitely say, buy a ticket to the next event. It's definitely a treat. It's definitely a one of a kind experience. So we do have an event coming up on May 23rd. It's another a night on the farm, and it's a full experience. You get fed. You can come to a cocktail hour. It's a Tuesday night, so just one random Tuesday night, you have some time, like buy a ticket for our fundraising dinner, support our fundraising, support our programming. Um, I would definitely say donate, spread the word. If you know of people that are looking to volunteer, get involved in farming or education, and have any suggestions, want to share recipes, definitely spread the word. Attend the events for sure.
And as we wrap, and this is the Washington Informer, I have to note this. You talked about being a Black woman and working with other Black women in your space from the nonprofit and side of things. But I earlier in the month we did a piece on the fact that the earth, the relationship between Black women and the earth is really so incredibly deep rooted. It's ancestral.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that we don't really necessarily have to be intentional about because it'll slap us in the face. And I know you, again, y'all, this is my best friend, so I know her world. But, and you've been in other similar environments from the West Coast on to back here home in DC. But this seems like this was meant to be experienced in many ways for you. Can you tell me about how it's been digging into the soil and serving your community in this way?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think at the height of the pandemic, I wanted to learn how to grow my own food, and that became urgent. Um, I learned a little bit, and definitely still learning so much. I wouldn't even consider myself a farmer. There, that's a stretch because farmers are it's very dedicated work. It's very like hands on every day, every morning in the sun, in the cold, dealing with different elements. It's just a whole thing. But I'm definitely somebody that I appreciate the earth, and yeah, it's innate for me, and I have to even learn how to be more intentional in this world because it's so like natural for me to like, okay, yeah, we're making food right now, and we got to feed somebody over there, and um, yeah, so I would say the connection between the land, the land called me, the land was calling, and I answered. Like, and another Black woman of mine who knew the previous market manager was the one who really got me the job. She, shared the post with me that they were hiring a manager, and I do events. I've done that for a while. I do communications. I've done that for a while. So it only made sense to fuse the two because I was already doing the work of feeding folks. Um, and tending to the land and
Yes.
learning more about how I can um, utilize these tools I have. And, I have a daughter. I need to learn these tools and use these tools so I can help her grow.
Well, I just have to say, on the record, I'm so proud of you. I am so inspired. You are feeding the community in all ways. And y'all, she's not going to mention this. She's also an amazing vocalist and singer. That's not a part of this job, so I'm just going to put it out there for her. But she feeds the community in so many ways, and so I am so inspired and proud of you and all that you're doing. And y'all, if you have the pleasure of having some of her fresh greens and salads, I am still nursing a little bit of a chickpea salad that she made last week for Earth Day. Then you have been blessed. So make sure you get to Common Good City Farm just to taste a little bit of some of those creations from Kaylasa. But no, really, the work that you all are doing is so important. We thank you for sharing with the entire region and really, really appreciate your intentional and inspirational work at Common Good City Farm. We thank your entire team. It is a family environment. Go out there and volunteer, y'all, if you haven't. It's just a great place to be in. So thank you for being with us today.
Thanks so much, Micha. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. And, I think with all of that feel good Black girl magic, this is a perfect transition into another amazing Black woman leading an organization that's doing really, really wonderful work for the community. As we talked about, this month is also a time to really consider what is happening with our young people, not only in the district, but nationwide, as it is Child Abuse Prevention Month. And so Safe Shores has been doing a lot of great work here in DC. And our fearless publisher, Denise Rolark Barnes, caught up with Michelle Booth Cole at Safe Shores. And so let's take a little look at some of the work that they're doing.
A set of pajamas, a week's worth of underwear, socks, and toiletries, shampoo, soap, lotion, toothbrush, toothpaste, all the things they might need. And, back in the day when we first started, these were created in case there were removals, right? And they were transitioning to someplace else. And then over the years, one, fewer children are removed these days. But two, the need, we noticed in 2008, 2009, when the economy tanked, families just came in needing stuff. Like every child in the family hadn't gotten new clothes, so we're like, okay, so we're not going to these aren't just in case of removals. If you need stuff, here, that's what this is for, right? Sandtray is a clinical modality. Now we start with trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, which is research supported, it's evidence supported, but not all children. I mean, that very much relies on people talking through their problems. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times either younger children or even adolescents, they might not be ready to talk, but what they can do is show you how they feel. And so they will put the characters and pieces in the Sandtray and kind of show how they feel. Often it starts, they might be in a corner, right? There might be kind of monsters all around here, and their caregiver or people who might help on the opposite end of the sand tray. The clinician will take a photo of the sand tray and what the child has done every session. You can see the progress of how they are regaining trust, how their fear is diminishing, how they start to own their story again. And so then, ideally, based on their treatment plan, by the end, they're often in the middle with all these protective figures around.
So April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and it is super important to create that level of awareness, to have organizations kind of all on the same page, talking about it in every community, because it's widespread. Like, this is a pervasive issue. We know 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused by the time they turn 18. And then neglect goes unreported or underreported. Physical abuse goes unreported. So we need to be really rallying everyone to recognize that this is an issue. At the same time, child abuse happens every month of the year. And so, part of what I tell my colleagues, I'm like, yeah, we can do things this month, but we need to be doing things in May, in June, in July, right? Like, because this issue, it doesn't stop.
And Safe Shores is?
So we're the Child Advocacy Center for the District of Columbia. We're a nonprofit organization. We are responsible for coordinating the district's response to child abuse cases that are reported. These are calls that go into MPD or to the CFSA hotline. And that's how our services are initially kind of prompted, because we have staff who are trained to conduct forensic interviews with children from ages as long as they're verbal to up to 18, right? And so that children won't have to talk about traumatic events to adults who are not trained to talk to children, generally, period, but especially about sexual trauma or violence. And so we have staff who do this all day, every day, and they're extraordinary at it. So that is part of our role. But the CAC also realizes that just because you respond to the crime, that's not all you should do for a child. So we have these really wraparound services. We have advocates who will work with that child and their caregiver for all kinds of things that they may need. If they need housing referrals, if there's food insecurity, if they need help with IEPs, if they need, whatever it is. Because usually a lot of the times the folk we serve have multiple kind of challenges in their lives, right? So our advocates will help them file court documents. They will go to court with them if the case goes to trial, like all the things. So advocates play this really multifaceted role. And then because we know that therapy is so valuable, and right, like everybody needs therapy. Like I just, like, we all need that impartial, neutral person, but particularly if you've been victimized, right, to have that resource available. So we have a team of therapists. We do not charge. We do not talk to families about money or insurance. Like, that's not even part of the conversation. It's just bring your child, right? And we will work with them, and we will use different modalities to reach them and help them get to the other side so they can restore their sense of hope and trust in people, and they can make it into adulthood and be healthy.
We often talk about the village, and it takes a village to raise a child. How do you interpret that as it relates to the children that you encounter, or the adults, that need help? I mean, or those of us who are just ordinary citizens out here that see families that may need support. I mean, how does that
people do need
function?
support? Let's be really clear. I mean, parenting is one of, if not the hardest job there is. They send you home with a little creature with no manual, with no instructions. Only requirement is you have to have a car seat. That's really it, right? So, I mean, I think the village, there's so many opportunities for people to help and to serve, because the need is endless, right? So you just have to figure out, what's my way of giving? What's my way of feeling comfortable? There are people who will, want to support a food bank, people who want to help people interview for jobs and provide clothes. But the real thing is, we can't do it alone. And when we want to act like we got someplace or somebody got someplace by themselves, we know it's too hard to rear children And we have a vested interest in every child being healthy, because even if that child is not in your child's classroom, they may be in the same store with them, they may be on the road with them, they may be, like, we're all connected. And I think the village is, people forget that we literally are. And just because you may have different income level, or you may have, you may be able to move away, maybe, but you still got to interact with other human beings, right? And so this notion that parents should do it by themselves or pull yourself up, nobody does that. And we didn't used to do that back in the day, right? People had extended family. They had grandmothers who lived close, or grandparents, or aunts and uncles, people who could relieve some of that strain that parents experience, give them a little rest and freedom, and there were other kids that they could play with. Like, we have gotten so this notion of kind of being individualistic that it's not good for kids, it's not good for families, and it's not realistic, and people are suffering. A lot of people are suffering in silence, but then we see a lot of it too. So the village is step up, speak up. There's something you can do, and figure out what's your thing, what's your way to serve, and there will be a need.
Wow, and more wow. Oh my goodness. Like, I am just so inspired by the work that they're doing at Safe Shores, and am so thankful for Michelle Booth Cole for joining us. The line, child abuse happens every month, not just in April, I think really is an unfortunate wake up call. But our publisher, Denise Rolark Barnes, has emphasized how we have to prioritize the children, how we have to prioritize the youth, not only in the amazing things that's happening with all of these outreach organizations, but also in our coverage. And so thank you so much, Michelle Booth Cole, for opening up your doors to us. That was very well done. Yes, as Stacy said, very well done. Now, I am very, very excited to bring on our next guest. Although I have to apologize because my vanity had me saying the name of his organization wrong a little bit earlier. I was saying Comfort Cares, and it's Comfort Cases. I need some funky glasses like Kaylasa had on earlier. Maybe I'd feel a little more comfortable wearing them on air. But I am really, really excited to bring Rob Shear of Comfort Cases on today. And he'll be talking to us about this organization that he founded, his mission to bring dignity and hope to youth in foster care, and tell us about some of the awesome programming that's happening at Comfort Cases. So, apologies, Rob, for my vanity.
Oh, no.
But I am so inspired and excited about the work that you're doing at Comfort Cases. Thank you for getting us right and get the entire community a little bit more information on what is Comfort Cases. Tell us about the organization you founded.
First of all, I have to say thank you for having me. But I have to think, I just was watching the previous segment, and one of the things I want to bring up about that segment is that we all must understand something, is that when you invest in a child, when you actually invest in a child, there used to be an old saying that when you invest in a child, you invest in their future. That is not true, my friend. When you invest in a child, you actually invest in your future, because they are our leaders of tomorrow. And that is something we all must understand. See, 10 years ago, I was sitting in my office, and my husband and I, we have adopted 5 kids out of the foster care system in the District of Columbia. And each one of my children arrived carrying a trash bag, just like I did in 1979. And I thought to myself, how could it be? How could we be a country that cares so much for our vulnerable when we have children who are entering the system? And by the way, we have a child entering foster care 1 every 2 minutes, and we are actually giving them a trash bag. and not thinking that they should think anything about that. And for me, I just wanted it to be different. So as I was sitting in my office right outside of DC, I decided that it was time to teach my children that it was up to leaders, and I believe we are all leaders, is to give back to our community to make the foundation as strong as we possibly could make it. So we put a case together, a case with a brand new pair of pajamas. I wanted every child to have their own toiletry set, every child to have their own book, their own activity, their own blankie, their own stuffy. And I thought that we would just do this and give this to some local kids who were entering foster care. Little would I know that 10 years later, because of amazing companies and amazing humans, and you know what, I have to tell you, and I hope all of your viewers and your watchers, listeners, they understand something. That yes, we are located in the District of Columbia, but we must understand something. Our community is not our zip code. Our community is not our zip code. Our community is our human race. It's our human race. And when I realized that, I knew that it was time to spread our wings. So we have been fortunate enough in the last 10 years that we are in every state, DC and Puerto Rico, and also in the United Kingdom, where we have delivered over 200,000 cases to kids entering foster care.
Oh my goodness. First of all, Rob, I could just listen to you speak all day. Other than the fact that everything you're saying is so incredibly important, your speaking voice is just so engaging. But I love this notion that you're reminding us that we're investing not in the youth for their generation, but for ours as well. And I think, you talk about your own experience in 1979 to this your children today. It seems like you noticed that there were folks only thinking about investing in the folks of tomorrow as opposed to how do we make a change from 1979 to assuming the middle 2000s, early 2000s.
Correct.
Same trash bag.
Same trash bag.
What?
My friend, let me tell you something. So I just flew back late last night from LA. I was in LA at a couple of events and I was meeting some social workers there, and they said, we still hand trash bags out. And it's something that people are not thinking about. And I remind everyone, first of all, we must understand something about foster care. And Monday kicks off National Foster Care Awareness Month. We are so lucky that we're partnering up with the America Group in DC. We're going to pack over 200 cases that will stay right in the District of Columbia again. But what I want to remind people is that children enter foster care because of choices other people made. Because other people made. And we have got to realize that the labeling of these children by calling them foster children is the first mistake we make. These are kids who are experiencing foster care. These are kids. The second mistake we make is that trash bags are put on the face of this earth to put trash in them, not children's clothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love your mission because it's just bringing dignity, bringing human awareness, bringing humanity to these life experiences. Oh, so incredibly powerful.
And the fact that what I love about our organization is we're 96% volunteer ran. Our national headquarters is located in Rockville, Maryland. 6 days a week, you can sign up, you can bring your family, you can come and pack cases. These cases are shipped all over the country. And by the way, we do not charge anything for our cases when social workers reach out to us and they need cases sent to them. And we do cases from birth all the way to the age of 21.
And so how do we volunteer? Are we providing resources to stuff in the cases, or are we providing cases themselves? How do we tap in? How can we support?
Well, first of all, as a nonprofit, of course, we always want your donation. But I think what I really want is I want the most valuable thing that each and every one of us have. See, the fact is that doesn't matter whether you're a female and I'm a male, or you're black and I'm white. It doesn't matter what my bottom line is on my 1040. Each and every human on the face of this earth has the most valuable thing, and that is their time. Their time. And so what I ask people to do is go to comfortcases.org and sign up for 2 hours. Just come in and help us pack these cases so we can get them shipped out.
And tell me about some of the exciting success stories you've had over the past decade in
Oh my gosh.
bringing dignity through these cases and bringing smiles as well through these cases.
Well, first of all, the funniest part is I'm a banker. I was a banker for 28 years.
No.
And yes. And when my memoir came out, when Derek Jeter published my memoir, I actually went and became a public speaker. And I've been very, very fortunate to be on that couch with Ellen, to People Magazine, to a CNN hero. But the thing that I get the most out of is when I go into a home where a child is receiving our case, and I get to sit down on the floor and I get to watch them pull the items out. But there's some sad times with that as well. Just recently, I was in a state and I had visited a group home. There were 40 kids in this group home, aging between the ages of 7 and 18. As I watched these kids open up these cases, I could see some smiles like I had never seen. But when I sat down on the floor and I asked these 2 sisters that were 9 and 11, what is your favorite thing that's in the case? And they both looked at me and said, Mr. Rob, my toothbrush. I said, your toothbrush? I said, not your stuffy or your book or your coloring book? And they said, no, my toothbrush. I said, why your toothbrush? They said, Mr. Rob, my sister and I have been sharing one for the last 3 weeks. See, the fact is that we must understand something as humans. Our children in foster care are not being taken care of like we think. They are not getting the things that every child deserves. First, unconditional love. Second, the items that give them dignity every single day. And that to me is a joy that when I get to see that, no matter how many magazines I've done or TV shows that I've been on, there's nothing that is more fulfilling than when I see the smile of a child when they pull out their stuff. But the one thing I have to tell you that I get asked all over the country, I have kids who ask me the same question. They say, Mr. Rob, why does somebody do this for me? I said, why does somebody do what? They said, why does somebody give me all this new stuff? I look at that child as I look at you today and remind you and remind your viewers, you do not have to know someone to love them. You don't. You don't have to know someone to love them.
You don't have to know someone to love them. Rob, I have to tell you, you are dropping the gems and the jewels on this Friday. I know that you all have your upcoming packing parties.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? And I have to know, do we get to pack with the gem dropper himself, Rob Shear?
Of course I will be there. And I'm so excited that we are going to be there on May 1st. We're doing this at the Boys and Girls Club. You can actually go to our website, follow us on Facebook. We have all the information there. It's with the America Group of DC, who is actually helping us sponsor this event. So we're very, very excited about that. But the one thing I want to leave with everybody to understand something is that in our foster care system, where we have 438,000 children sitting there, that only 54% of those kids will actually graduate from high school. The fact to know that only 11% will apply for college and that only 3% will get a college education. I think about every single day as we had adopted our 18-year-old son. When I turned 18, I was a senior in high school. And what was handed to me by my foster parents was my trash bag, where I became homeless and lived on the streets of Northern Virginia my entire senior year of high school. That is happening to 70% of the 30,000 children who are exiting foster care this year. And the reason I say that is because I think that if we bring our community together, if we educate them about these children, and these are not bad kids, kids are not bad, they just need to be redirected. These are kids who have been put in a situation because of a choice someone else made. So let's come together as a community. Let's pack some cases and let's truly show them that they do matter. Let's show them that they're not disposable. And let's show them that we love them.
Rob Shear, thank you so much. You have found such an important way to raise awareness to really the sometimes tragic and really heartbreaking stories we're hearing out of what happens when children are experiencing the foster care system. And thank you for raising awareness not only to the lack of dignity, but also, what happens after to 70%, as you said, of some of these children who are left to fend for themselves. But in so many ways, you've offered hope. In so many ways, you are continuing to inspire not only these children, but as you said, all of us to remember that we can love without knowing someone. Thank you
Right.
so much. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're
May
very
1st,
welcome.
the packing party, y'all. I think we all need to tap into this. Sounds like such a great time, and we so appreciate your hard work over the last decade in bringing awareness and comfort and cases to our youth. Thank you so much, Rob Shear. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care. Oh gosh, y'all, are you fired up as much as I am after our amazing guests? We've had such an amazing lineup today. As Stacy mentioned earlier in the show, I think he commented, yes, great lineup. It truly has been such a wonderful day of offering news that you can use. Yes, I am always fired up. Stacy, you're correct. I am always, but when there's important stuff to talk about, when there's a lot happening in this world, we got to get fired up and ready to go. And that's why I enjoy being on this end as a storyteller, because I get to hear all of the amazing stories and all of the wonderful things that people are doing in our community to combat some of the really sad and challenging things that our people face every single day. Or as Rob said, one child is entering foster care, I believe, once every 2 minutes. Rob, nod with me if I got that fact correct. But yes, okay, good. Good, yeah. But yeah, I really am inspired by all of our community members. And what has been great is that every single one of our guests have put a charge on us to engage, to volunteer, to tap in, whether it's volunteering at Common Good City Farm, whether it's providing resources or tapping in or packing bags at Safe Shores, or whether it's joining the packing party and the many volunteers that keep comfort cases going every day and bringing dignity to our young people experiencing some of the challenges that, as Rob so eloquently emphasized, was not their fault. Someone else had a little or a lot to do with the circumstances that they're experiencing. And so how can we provide comfort in all ways to our young people? Thank you so much to our guests. This has been an amazing episode of Win TV. But before we sign off, we have to have another beautiful honoring of Earth Month, and Curtis Knowles has a video for that. So enjoy your weekend, everybody, and thank you, Curtis. Thank you to all of our guests. Thank you to all of our viewers. Make sure you share this. As I always say, sharing is caring. Take care, everybody.
Supreme Court on Monday allowed lawsuits brought by municipalities seeking to hold energy companies accountable for climate change to move forward in a loss for business interests. The court turned away oil company appeals in 5 cases involving claims brought by cities and municipalities in Colorado, Maryland, California, Hawaii, and Rhode Island as part of efforts to hold businesses accountable for the effects of climate change. Richard Wiles, the president of the Center of Climate Integrity and Environmental Group, said, quote, "Big oil companies have been desperate to avoid trials in state courts, where they will be forced to defend their climate lies in front of juries, and today the Supreme Court declined to bail them out." Alexandra Karup and her defense of her ancestral territory was recognized with the Goldman Environmental Prize on Monday. The award honors grassroots activists around the world who are dedicated to protecting the environment and promoting sustainability. The Soiree Mwebu is an area of virgin rainforest along the Tapajos River, spanning 440,000 acres. Karup and other Mandaruku women who took up the responsibility of defending their people and overturning the traditionally all-male leadership. They organized in their communities and they orchestrated demonstrations, presenting compelling evidence of environmental crimes to the federal attorney general and federal police, as well as vehemently being opposed to illicit agreements and incentives offered to the Mandaruku people by unscrupulous miners, loggers, corporations, and politicians seeking access to their land. Official recognition for their land, or demarcation, began in 2007 but was frozen during the far-right presidency of Jair Bolsonaro, which ended in January.